Hello everyone! Today I want to share an incredible experience and probably a memorable experience I have ever had, which I recently had a meeting with a representative from the Timor-Leste embassy here in Indonesia, and it was a visit full of warmth and insightful discussions. During my visit, I had the privilege of speaking with His Excellency Counsellor Mr. Domingos Savio, who shared his perspective on the strong and unique relationships between Indonesia and Timor-Leste. One thing that stood out for me was how much our cultures aligned. Before we jump into the interview video with His Excellency, I would like to thank you very much from His Excellency Counsellor Mr. Domingos Savio for the time and willingness to participate in this interview. And I would also like to thank you very much to the staff of the Embassy of Timor-Leste, Kak Aurelia and Kak Shirley, for helping me in reaching out to the embassy counselor. And here is the video.
Yeah, you can do it in English. You can do it in Bahasa, whatever you like.
Okay, first of all, thank you so much, Your Excellency, for the time taken, and good evening, Councilor Domingos Savio. It is an honor and privilege for me to meet you today. And first of all, allow me to introduce ourselves. My name is Randy Azari, my full name, and this is my classmate Sylvia, and my classmate also Adelia. And we are a student of international relations at Universitas Budi Luhur, and one of the course I'm studying, currently taking, is digital diplomacy, and taught by His Excellency Ambassador Foster Gultom. And in this course, we explore how digital tools and technologies are reshaping international relations and diplomacy, enabling nations to engage more dynamically and effectively. And today, our discussion will focus on evolving partnerships between Timor-Leste and Indonesia, with a special emphasis on the role of digital diplomacy. And to begin with, the question is, could you give us an overview of the key areas where Timor-Leste and Indonesia are currently collaborating, particularly in the economic and cultural sectors?
You are well aware that Timor-Leste and Indonesia are neighbors.
Yes.
If I were to quote President Yudhoyono's words, Timor-Leste and Indonesia are not only neighbors, but actually are brothers and sisters. What that means is that relation between our two countries is actually very, very, very strong. And a part of the job of the embassy here is to work hard to deepen the relationship between our two countries. In relation to your question about area of cooperation, there are plenty of area of cooperation. One is political cooperation, economic cooperation, social culture, education, health. There are a lot, military, police, immigration. There are a lot of area because, as you know, we share border. We are what we call one island, two nations. East Timor and West Timor, as you know, entity, and Timor-Leste are, it's one island divided into two. So we actually share an island. Therefore, our relationship is very, very, very close and very, very strong. In terms of the economic cooperation, currently it's a lot to do with import and export. If you look at the statistic wise, most of the Timor-Leste's commodities or day-to-day needs are actually imported from Indonesia. So they mainly come from West Timor, NTT, cross the border by land, but also come from Tanjung Perak in Surabaya, Indonesia, through shipping. So most of the needs are actually coming from these two areas. Of course, other countries, we trade with ASEAN countries and then Australia, New Zealand, and the rest of the world. But for Indonesia, mainly through these two areas. In Timor-Leste, most of our income it's actually come from oil and gas. Yeah. So the oil and gas is the biggest revenue for the country. You have probably heard that the leaders and the leaders of Timor established what they call oil trust fund that sit in U.S. bonds. So all the money that come from oil and gas is safe in U.S. bonds. Currently sitting about $18 billion. Yeah. It probably supposed to be almost maybe over 30-40 billion dollars, but a lot of it being used to do developing the country. Second income for the country is actually come from remittances. Remittances are the Timorese citizens who work in Australia, South Korea, United Kingdom, Portugal, to bring money back into the economy. That's the second biggest income for the country. Third is come from coffee. So Timor-Leste export organic coffee that currently be sold around the world in Starbucks, from London to Sydney to Melbourne to US, Germany. So because we produce one of the best organic coffee on earth. Followed by vanilla, cocoa, and other things. These are where the Timor-Leste economy is based on. Other area that you talk about, because you also asked about culture.
Yes.
Now the cultural relation with Indonesia is very, very strong, as you know, because we share an island, and you're probably aware by now that Timor-Leste was part of Indonesian territory as a 27th province. You're probably too young back then, but therefore Timor was part of Indonesia for 24 years. Very long time. 24 years. What they mean is that the cultural connection between the two countries, two peoples, are actually very, very deep. So there's a lot of cross marriage between Indonesians and Timorese, Timorese and Indonesians. So basically, like Timorese man married to Indonesian woman, or Indonesian man married to Timorese woman. So a lot of mixed Timorese and Indonesian children. What they mean is that to bring the bridge of the two countries even closer. In terms of culture, there are a lot of similarities. Because as I said, if you are in Timor, you'll see Padang food, makanan Padang, rumah makan Padang, Indonesian, all sort of Indonesian food is there. Equally, Timorese like to eat Indonesian food, because we were part of, like as I said, 27 province for 24 years. What else? We speak the language. Most people in Timor speak Indonesian. And Bahasa Indonesia is currently become one of the working language in Timor. So you have Portuguese and Tetum as official language, and then you have English and Bahasa as working language in the country. So that lead up to the relationship in terms of contribute to the cultural relation between our two countries. Also, Indonesia have what they call Indonesian Center in Timor, where a lot of young people like you, Timorese young people, go to this center to learn about Indonesia or apply for scholarship to come and study in Indonesia. The relationship, it's a very, very deep. Beyond that, food, music, Timorese watch your television, Indonesian television, sinetron, films. So that contributes to the strong relation between our two countries, especially in the area of culture, social culture, I should say. So and we do have a lot of similarity. Yeah.
That's all. Okay. My second question is about social and cultural changes. What initiatives have been launched by both countries to support social and cultural exchanges, and how do these initiatives impact people-to-people connections between Timor-Leste and Indonesia?
As I mentioned earlier, because Indonesia is so closed, people know Indonesia well, so a lot of young people come and study in your country here in Indonesia. Currently, we have about 1,700 students study in Indonesia, from Kupang all the way to Jakarta, across different universities. From I don't know about Budiluhur, I don't know whether it's Timor students there, but if you go to President University, there's hundreds of Timoris there. You go to Trisakti, and many Timoris there. Atmajaya, UI, UGM, Udayana, Brawijaya, or even ITB. So Timoris are studied everywhere in your universities. Some of them paid by their own parents, some of them paid by Indonesian government as scholarship, and some of them paid by Timorese government on scholarship. So this is the initiative that being created by two countries, especially through our diplomatic relations. Indonesian diplomats in Delhi, they are one who go to the Indonesian Culture Center in Delhi to promote Indonesian universities. So a lot of lecturers, public relations from different universities visit Timor regularly to promote universities. That's why so many young people come and study in your country. What it says, that means that relationships can only go deeper and stronger now and in the longer term. Yeah. So what was the other question? Because the question would be long.
Okay. So next question is, in the age of digital diplomacy, how does Timor-Leste use digital tools and communication platforms to strengthen its diplomatic ties with Indonesia? And are there specific projects or examples you could share with us?
When it comes to diplomacy, there's also a lot of secrecy. So there's certain things that we can say in public, but certain things we can't. Now, how you use digital or high tech to support diplomatic communications? Certain countries do it differently. But what I can say is this: by having high tech, by having telecommunication, by having WhatsApp like yours, it certainly helps in terms of communication, because we can do it instant. It used to be taking like days or whatever, weeks or months to send your diplomatic pouch. Diplomatic pouch are like a special document that you send. You must write in the back. They call diplomatic pouch to send from one country to another, and nobody's allowed to open it, by the way. Now with the digital, they can do it instant. So there are a lot of countries, especially advanced countries, they use the encrypted stuff to send the secret communication between capitals. But so having this high tech is actually quite useful. I can just sit there and text my my leaders that I have access to ask for, let's say, their position or opinion, or what they think about the relationship, or if it's something that I'm not very clear, I have to consult Delhi. It's actually 1 second away. I just texted within a minute. I will get the reply from maybe the foreign minister or from the office of the prime minister. So certainly by having high tech digital, it's a quite useful tool. But it's also a danger in the sense that people can what do you call hack it, yeah. Or people can get your secrets because the advanced countries, they are very smart. That's, as I said, In diplomacy, there's so much secrets.
Mm,
So they are good,
huh?
but they're dangerous at the same time, this technology,
I see.
in my view.
Benar sih emang kadang.
Because, by having this, you hold it. If you are somewhere, I can track you where you are.
Hmm,
Yeah.
benar sih.
Even you don't use it, I can still listen to your conversation. This is a danger. So this technology is very good, but they're also very dangerous. So smart people, smart diplomats, when they talk about secrets, this phone number are nowhere near them, and they maybe sit out there to talking. So nobody can listen to it, because this phone, the iPhone that you have got, or the one that you are holding, if you don't undo the what you call the battery, people listen to your conversation. So that's the danger of the technology. The good thing is that we can communicate easily. So basically, you can do it. It's like from here to London or from here to Washington. It's only 1 second away. You send a message, immediately someone get it, immediately someone reply it. The danger is that people also follow you and see what you're doing. So if you are negotiating on certain issues, they might find out about your position before they negotiate with you. Those are the danger part. So diplomats have to be aware of this. These are things that the technology can be helpful, but can be dangerous. I don't know what the ambassador teach you about this, but that is my personal opinion.
Okay. My last question is, so I spoke to one of the students from Timor Leste who's studying here in Indonesia, in Surabaya, and she said she got scholarships, and I heard about some her experience about maybe barrier language between Indonesia and Timor Leste themselves. Do you think bahasa Indonesia is widely used, or maybe not very common in Timor Leste?
As I mentioned earlier, bahasa Indonesia actually it's widely used in Timor Leste. Excuse me. Obviously, when it comes to academic language, it's always difficult.
Yes.
Even with you, as Indonesians, because I used to study here too. I speak bahasa well, but when it comes to academic language, it's not always easy. It's like you can speak bahasa, or like all the Indonesians, they speak bahasa, right?
Yes.
But it doesn't mean that they can go to university. So you might speak bahasa because since you're born, you speak bahasa. But if you don't have the academic intellectuality, you can't go to university. Because the academic language is much harder, So I share her concern or his concern about the language barrier, but it's not only bahasa. I study in London. When I arrived there, I always speak English well, but when it comes to academic writing, I was sent for a 6 months foundation course before I started my courses in London. So academic language is much more difficult. It's needs skills, and you have to be able to write in a way the structure that required by university. So probably that's what her concern. But in terms of speaking bahasa, most people speak bahasa because we were part of Indonesia for 24 years, pretty long time. And then it was not only just Timorese there, but thousands and thousands of teachers come from Indonesia in different schools in Timor to teach us, academic or mathematics or anything in school, all in bahasa. And then on top of it, we have so many military there back then. So many military, so many police, so many sellers, people who do business, people who just visited, because we were part of we were the 27th province back then. So Bahasa was widely spoken, and still actually quite, the little kids that were born when we become independence in 2002, That's only 22 years ago. Or if you count with the 99 referendum, then it's 25 years ago. If he or she is now 25, then she was probably 1 year old or before born when we become independent. That's why they don't speak Bahasa. But they learn Bahasa through watching television or interact with Indonesians, but not academic Indonesian language, I would say.
More questions? Maybe you could like.
You can have 2 more.
Okay, this one. Can you share share your experience working in embassy, what it's like, and what you do like in the embassy? Can you share your experience to us? Maybe it's become inspiration for us to work in the embassy itself.
So, before Jakarta, I was working in our embassy in Canberra, Australia. Prior to that, I was head of mission in Singapore for over 3.5 years. What normally embassy staff do in general, there are 3 main things. 1, we represent the country, Timor Leste government, of course, and then we promote our country's interests, by having good relation with Indonesia, or with Australia when I was in Australia, or with Singapore when I was in Singapore. And the last one is to defend the country's interests. So defend the country is, I'll give you a concrete example. When I was in Australia and Timor Leste have to negotiate a maritime boundary. Because there was a dispute. So if you look at this table, over there is Australia at the end, we are Timor. Australia think the border is here, but we think the border is in the middle, not here. So my job is to defend my country, to negotiate with Australia to move the border to the middle. So that's what we do when we talk about defending the country, or defending the country's interests. In the UN, for example, if there is a vote on capital punishment, capital punishment is di sini hukuman gantung. In Timor is banned, it's not allowed. So if let's say you bring a lot of drugs, or someone commit a serious crime, maximum it's life in prison, but no capital punishment. Tidak boleh hukum mati orang. Now this we defended in the UN to make sure to abolish what we call capital punishment, because we believe in second chance of people's life. We value people's life. Jadi tidak mendorong hukuman mati.
And I think that's all for the interview vlog video with His Excellency Counsellor Mr. Domingos Savio. And I'm sorry that the video was cut short because we have some technical difficulties in recording. And after the conversation, we actually have a bit of conversations about Counsellor experiences in the field of diplomacy. And after we're done, we took some pictures with His Excellency, and after that he gave us a gift from the embassy, and I never would have expected this, and it was probably the most memorable thing I have ever experienced in the embassy. And yeah, it was the most warm and very friendly embassy I have ever visited. Thank you. I think that's all. I hope you enjoyed the video, and see you next time. Bye.